But I want to talk to you from the perspective of the entrepreneur. Can you move the slides on for me? Right, there he is. This is the entrepreneur in me. And this was taken 16. I was already trading back-up stock. I'm not going to spend too long on my history, don't worry. Trading back-up stock. And the reason I put it up is because we become entrepreneurs very, very young in life. I became an entrepreneur at the age of 7. I came from a mining family. I only ever had one new toy. It was a new Batmobile. The day I got it for my birthday, it was nicked when I went in for lunch. And I've never recovered. I still, even as I'm talking about this now, I can feel the hairs go from the back of my neck. I've never recovered from that moment. It turned me into someone who was hungry and who was not prepared to live with that sort of situation. So grammar school boy, mining family, the only one in my family to go to university. But the point about this is entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs generally are formed when they are young. My business today, just to put it into context, we make Heineken lights. They reach the parts that other lights can't reach. So you would find our lights on the space shuttle, not actually the current space shuttle, but on the early space shuttles, Branson's Round the World Balloon, Trident nuclear submarines. We've reached as far as man has reached into space and as deep as man has reached into the ocean. If you were in an A1 Abrams tank in Iraq, you'd be reading the map under our lights. If you were on an RNI lifeboat in the ocean, you'd be reading the charts under our lights. We're the only company in the world that has a light that can be used in MRI facilities for minor surgery. So it's quite a serious, real, but small business. And the reason I raise it and bring it forward as in profile is actually we're not atypical from what goes on in Buckinghamshire. You know, I said earlier on we think of Buckinghamshire as a leafy glade. Well, actually we're not. It's the 3rd highest GVA per head in the country for a county area. So it's not a leafy backwater. In fact, I think as Chris will draw out later in some of the stats, 6,000 people in Buckinghamshire work in the space industry. You know, and there are a number of sectors, new media technologies, where we are in fact very strong. So I'm talking to you from that perspective. The damaged young boy who fought hard to get out of the gutter and has built something that he's quite proud of. Now, let me ask you, who are the hands up private sector, people in the private sector at the moment? Okay, keep your hands up. Those of you who've had a good year this last year, keep your hand up. Right, still quite a few of you with your hands up. Now, why is that? Well, I call it pond dredging, or the enterprise shuffle. What's happened is it got really, really tough, didn't it? All of a sudden, bang, the manure hit the fan and we thought, oh, hello, I'm not used to this. Been used to gradual growth and it being quite easy. And what happened was a little bit, so we sort of galvanized by that toughness. We galvanized into action. It gave us permission to do things that we would have never dreamt of doing before. I mean, who would have dreamt of going to the staff and saying, how about a 20% pay cut this year, guys? You know, you wouldn't have dreamt. It gave you permission to do stuff, and it really made us focus. Those of us in Buckinghamshire running successful business really focused on what was important. And I call it pond dredging, because it's like, in my village in Dunsmore, there's a tiny village, it's a tiny pond, as you go, for those who know it, as you go through the village. And about 4 years ago, in one hot summer, the level of the pond dropped. Previously, it was pristine and beautiful. It was a lovely scene, ducks, all that sort of stuff. As soon as the pond level dropped, first thing you saw was a rusty bicycle in the middle of that pond sticking out. And that is what's happened to us. Our pond level water, the level in our ponds has dropped. And as entrepreneurs, you cannot live with something that you see. If you can see it, you can't live. You can't drive past that pond every day and not wade in and pull the damn thing out because you're an entrepreneur. And that's really what's happened to us. And to put it in words of Colin Powell, you need to keep looking beneath the surface. And that's what happened. The surface level dropped, and all of a sudden we got down to what was really always there. All those inefficiencies, all the all the people that we're employing that we always thought, well, why are we employing them anyway? The poor practice, all that sort of stuff. So what's happened in the last year, in the number of businesses I talked to said, this has been my best year ever. I met, where's David go? I met David at a group of entrepreneurs a couple of weeks ago, and they were all saying, this is the best year I've ever had.